Okay. Yesterday what we discussed, the basic thing of Linux. So how to install Linux, and the previous session. Okay, how to install Linux in the previous session. So what is the operating system? So what is the features of Linux? That is what we discussed, right? Okay. So today we are going to discuss about how a Linux system will boot. Okay, the booting process of Linux. Okay, so when power on the system, what will happen? BIOS. When power on the system, BIOS wake up. BIOS wake up. So BIOS performs post. It performs post. What is post and what is BIOS? Basic input output system. BIOS stands for basic input output system. And what is post? Power on self test. Power on self test. So when power on the system, BIOS wake up and it performs post. Okay. So what is post here? It checks all the hardware peripherals functionality. So whether the device is functioning properly or not. Okay. So after done this step, so then it will find a bootable device. Bootable device. Bootable device. Then it finds for a bootable device. Okay. So after done this, once bootable device found, then it will execute MBR recite in your bootable device. So once bootable device found, BIOS executes MBR master boot record. MBR master boot record. Okay. So which is resides in the bootable device. So it's a small program. It contains a 512 byte size. 512 byte size. Contains 512 byte size. First sector of the bootable device. First sector of the bootable device. So it contains the information about partition table and bootloader information. It contains the information about partition table and bootloader information. So how many partitions are created, which one is a boot partition, and what is the bootloader type. And if you installed two operating systems on a single machine, so like dual booting, so which one is the primary bootloader, which one is the secondary bootloader, that information is stored inside the MBR master boot record. Okay. So MBR executes bootloader. MBR loads the bootloader, executes. Here the bootloader name is grub. Here, okay, grub. Clear? Grub. What is grub stands for? Grand Unified Bootloader. Grub stands for Grand Unified Bootloader. See, Grand Unified Bootloader. So grub executes kernel. So means it loads the operating system kernel. Sorry, kernel. It executes kernel. Kernel loads the device drivers. First it loads the device drivers, means drivers. So all the devices, whatever the devices on your motherboard, first it loads the, depends on your motherboard drivers, the software programs for that particular devices. Okay. So then kernel executes init process. Init. Then kernel executes init process. So init is the very first process at user space. The process ID of init is 1, PID. The process ID is 1, init. Clear? So in 6, the first process name is called init. In 7, RHL7 system D. system D. This is the first process name, and the process ID of that process is 1. So in RHEL6 5 4, the process name is very first process at user space is init. So kernel will execute. In 7, the system D, the name is system D, and the process ID is 1. Okay. So init, it initializes the run levels. It initializes the run levels. Initialize the run levels. So here in Linux, we have a 0 to 6 run levels. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Clear? So what is 0? Run level 0. Run level 0. Alt. If you pass signal 0 to your init process, then init will initialize the run level 0. So run level 0 means halt, shut down. Shut down. Then single user mode, run level 1. Single user mode. So what is single user mode here? So it is also a troubleshoot mode. If something went wrong, if you forget the password, administrative password, so we can recover from this single user mode. Boot from system to the single user mode, then recover that password. Okay, clear? So troubleshooting, the rescue mode, single user mode here, rescue mode. So we can rescue the system. So log into the power on the system and load, execute the run level, then rescue the system. So like file system errors, grub errors, init image errors, forget password errors. Okay, like this. And multi-user, this is multi-user without NFS, network file system service. So without NFS service, run level 2 and run level 3. So run level 3, so multi-user, multitasking, full administrative. Okay, so it comes with CUI. Okay, non-graphical interface. Non-graphical user interface means you'll get a black screen. User interface. So for not yet used, this is what future purpose. Okay, so run level 5. So GUI, graphical user interface, multi-user, multitasking with graphical user interface, desktop mode. Okay, and run level 6, reboot or restart the system. That is depends on your signal. So if you want to reboot the system, just execute the command. So init is the process and pass the signal 0.
Suresh, hello, Suresh.
Yeah. Hello.
Suresh, could you share me your screen? I am unable to see.
Oh, sorry.
Share me whiteboard.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, done.
Okay.
Done.
See, init is the very first process and pass it signal 0. So now init will execute the run level, means shut down halt your system. Okay, so it stops all the services and operating system services. Your system goes down. Okay, so if you want to reboot, just pass the signal to init. Which signal? Signal 6. Then your system will be rebooted, restarted. Okay, like this. So these are the run levels available in your Linux. So that is depends on run level, the default run level. The default run level will be defined in /etc/init tab configuration file, the default run level. So we can also set that. So if you install your operating system with GUI, the default run level is 5. The default run level is 5. If you want to boot with your system with run level 3, then go to this configuration file, then set the default run level as 3. So instead of 5, remove the 5 and set 3 and save it. So when power on the system, automatically your operating system will be load and run under run level 3. So what is the difference between run level 3 and run level 5? So it comes with user interface, non-graphical interface. So when your system will start, so all the GUI based services, whatever the services required to start graphical interface like XORG packages required and X11 packages required to load the graphical user interface. All the services will be started when you start the system at run level 5. So when you start your system at run level 3, these services will be stopped. The services will be by default stopped. You will get a user interface like this. So here X is a protocol. X is a protocol. It regulates the communication between GDM, graphical display manager, to your applications. So here applications are nothing but a client. Okay, so we'll see what is that. So just understand, right? So BIOS, when power on the system, BIOS wake up and performs post. So BIOS means basic input output system, and it performs post, power on self test. So it checks all the hardware peripherals functionality, whether the device is functioning properly or not. Once done this step, then it will find for a bootable device. Once finds the bootable device, then it will execute MBR, which is resides on your first sector of bootable device. So that is a small program, 512 bytes. Okay, it contains the information about. It contains the information about partition table and bootloader information and integrity check. So itself, so MBR errors. So automatically it will check internally itself, is there any errors occurred in the MBR sector. Okay, so after done this, MBR executes the loader, bootloader. So in Linux, the bootloader name is grub or Lilo. Linux loader. Lilo means Linux loader or grub. Grub is a grand unified bootloader. Clear? So then grub executes kernel. Means it loads the operating system. Kernel is nothing but a core part of the operating system. It contains a lot of system calls, whatever the operating system required services, right? So it executes kernel. The kernel executes init process. Init will initialize the run levels. Okay, that is depends on your default run level. If you want to rescue, just pass the signal to init, then you will get a run level. That so 2, 1, 4, 5, 6, that is depends on the signal you pass, right? So these are the run levels in RHEL 6, 5, 7. Okay, so but you need to remember init is the very first process. In 7, that process name is systemd. In 6 and 5, init is the first process name at user space. In 7, the process name is systemd. Process ID is 1. Okay, very first process. Clear? Parent of all the processes running under your operating system. Clear? So this is booting process of our Linux. So here 6 run levels is the right. So again, so we have a 6 consoles. So 5 virtual consoles and 1 graphical console. 5 virtual consoles and 1 graphical console. So what is console here? So console allows to log in with different user account to do another task with login with other user account or the same user account. If you want to perform n number of tasks at a time, just you can log in with each console with another username as the same username. For example, the default console is graphical console GUI. Okay, so and 5 virtual consoles, you will get a user interface, non-graphical consoles. Okay, so for example, the root user account, log in with root user account and you perform something. So if you want to perform again one more task, if you want to test any, if you applied any permissions on a file or any directory, if you want to test, so log in with different user account whether the permissions properly applied or not. Okay, so just switch to the consoles. We have a command to switch between consoles. chvt is the command, change virtual console. So here 1 to 6, 1, if you pass 1 to chvt, then it goes to virtual console 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Clear? So just simply execute chvt 1, then it goes to virtual console 1. So then just simply pass 2, then it goes to second virtual console, and then it will ask username and password, log in with same user account or different user account. Then execute commands, test. So whatever the application you want to test or file permissions like this, or you want to create another task on that one. Okay, so like this chvt. Or so one more option is a control, CTRL, control plus alt F1, first virtual console, F2, second virtual console, F3, like this. Control alt F1, control alt F2, control alt F3, control alt F4, F5, F6, like this. Okay, 6 virtual consoles. So here one graphical console and 5 virtual consoles in your RHEL 6 and 7. So RHEL 5 is 7 consoles. So 6 non-graphical consoles and 1 graphical console in RHEL 5. Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5, the old version. Okay, so in 6 and 7, so only having 6 consoles, and in 6 5 virtual consoles and 1 graphical console. I'll show you that. Yes, that is depends on. So first one is the graphical console. If you log in with your GUI, if the operating system started at run level 5, okay, the first console is the graphical console. Graphical console. If the operating system started at run level 3, then only available 5 consoles. Only available 5 consoles. Only user interface. Okay. So here, so I'll show you that. Just specify the username and password. So right click, terminal. It's a terminal which allows to execute commands. Here. So this is graphical console. Graphical console, right? To switch from graphical console to user console, non-graphical console. So execute 1. The same console. Currently you are in virtual console 1, graphical console, chvt 2. Switch it, right? Switch it to second virtual console, that is non-graphical console. Then username, root, login, right? Then list the files and create files, perform another task, execute scripts, installations. So if you want to log in with the same user account in all the consoles, log in. So it allows to log in. So that is called session, multiple sessions. If you log in with the same user account on all the consoles, that is called sessions, multi-session. So if you log in with different user accounts on different consoles, that is called multi-user login, multi-user login. Clear? So if you want to switch from 2 to 3, Again, it is asking enter the username, another user account name, Suresh. Login, right? CHVT. So I want to switch from 3 to 1. Okay, like this. So 5 non-graphical consoles and 1 graphical console. Clear? So our Control Alt F2, Control Alt F3. Have a command chvt or Control Alt F1, F2, F3 and up to F6. Okay, clear? So how to check the the console, whether you are in like a virtual console 3, virtual console 2 or virtual console 1. So we have a command terminal type, TTY is the command to check that. So TT command shows that the terminal type. So currently we are in /dev/TTY3, means on virtual console 3. Currently you are in console 3. See, TTY3, right? Now switch to 2 and execute here chvt, sorry, TTY. Shows the terminal type, second terminal. Clear? Control Alt F1, sorry, Control Alt F1. So graphical console. So execute TTY command. This is a subterminal. Here it shows the PTS, pseudo terminal. This is a subterminal, but the main terminal type is TTY1, terminal type 1. Okay, so clear? Like this, how to switch between consoles. CHVT command or either use Control Alt F1 to F6. Clear? Hello? Hello, Ramna? Hello?
Yeah, Suresh.
Yeah, is there any doubts?
Yeah, Suresh. Yeah. Yeah, no, you can carry on.
Okay, fine. Okay, so this is the booting process of our Linux system and the consoles and run levels. Okay, clear? Now the basic commands. Basic commands. So what are the commands available? Lot of commands available in Linux. Okay, okay. How to list the files? For example, log in with user account. Right? Any user account. You create an administrative account or any other account. So provided credentials, and you will get a screen like this. Just right click on your desktop, then open in terminal. You will get a terminal window. It allows to execute commands. So shell allows to execute the commands. So when you type a command name on the terminal, shell takes that request. Shell takes that request. So what is the shell type here? Bash. Bash is the default shell. Okay. So bash is the default shell. So to list files and directories at current working directory to view. So what are the files is there available on your current working directory? ls. ls is the command to list files and directories. To list files and directories. Clear? So ls command. Like this. Yes.
Yeah, I have one doubt. What is the purpose of these 6 consoles in real time?
6 consoles. So if you want to perform different tasks at the same time, so just switch to the different console and log in with different user or the same user, then perform another task. Okay. Or if you
one user can.
Yeah, one user can log in with the multiple sessions. It allows to log in, right?
Okay, it's kind of multitasking.
Yes, multitasking.
Okay.
Okay. So list. ls is the command to list files and directories on your Linux system. So this is root user account home directory. So now log in with root user account. So now root user account home directory is /root. That is what we discussed, right? The file system structure. So file system structure is like this. What? Like a tree structure. So top level directory file system structure starts with like this. I'll show you that once again. Clear? So Linux file system starts with forward slash. This is called a root file system. Root file system. So under this root file system, by default, system will be created some directories. Okay, like boot slash root bin sbin home lib usr dev etc and var, like this. This is the file system structure on our Linux. Okay, the file system structure like a tree. Okay, this is the file system starts with forward slash, that is called a root file system. Under root file system, boot, root, bin, sbin, home, lib, usr, dev, etc and var and proc, temp, some other directories are created default. So it is organized in a way of organizing the files and directories. File system is nothing but the way of organizing files and directories, like a tree structure here. So and the proper manner. So boot, it contains all the bootable files. So if you want to change something on your boot, so go to the boot configuration file. We can easily identify that all the bootable configuration files will be located under this. Just change your directory to boot and edit the configuration file so as per your requirement. Okay, clear? So root, this is root. So root user is here. Root is a user account name, administrator, admin user account. This user account home directory is /root. So when creating files, root user, so that files will be created under this root directory. Okay, all these files. Bin, executables. Sbin also contains executables. So user plus admin can execute. Both can execute this under bin directory, executable files like commands. So secure bin. So only administrator can execute. Admin can execute that under sbin commands, administrative commands. All the administrative commands will be located under sbin directory. Okay, so only super user or administrator can execute. So normal user can't execute. So they don't have permissions to run that command. Okay, access denied. If anyone trying to execute that any administrative command, it says access denied, permissions denied. Okay, here home, all users home directory. So if you created any user account, normal user account, that user account home directory will be created under /home directory, like this. For example, created now, right? Suresh Polyglot user accounts. So this user accounts home directory will be created under /home /Suresh and /home /polyglot, like this. Here like this. So any user, if you created any user in your Linux system, that user's home directory will be created with same name under /home directory. All users home directory is /home. You lib, all library files, program files, library files will be stored under lib, and usr, all the user executables and user installed programs will be stored under /usr, and dev, all the devices information like storage device, CD-ROM, USB, VGA controllers, graphic controllers, all are devices, right? RAM, ROM, that information, okay, will be stored under dev directory. Clear? And etc, all the services configuration files, all the services configuration files will be stored under /etc. Where log files will be stored under, what is log? A message. So when a service running under your operating system, it generates any message like errors, access logs. that will be stored under log files. So the default log files location is /var /log directory. Okay, so you can easily identify if you want to track log files of any service. Just go to this directory. So one directory will be created with the same name as whatever the service. For example, FTP. So then the directory will be created like this: vsftpd. Inside this /var/log vsftpd. Under this directory, access logs, error logs like this will be one files will be created. For example, HTTPD web service. HTTPD directory will be created under this access underscore log and error underscore log files will be created. We can easily track that the messages, whatever the messages occurred at the time of running your web server applications. Clear? So this is the structure of root file system. Clear? So this is ls is the command to list files and directories. See, ls. So what is ls here? A tree structure. What we discussed, right? Bin directory, dev directory, home directory, boot, etc, lib, media, opt, root, proc, mnt, run, sbin, srv, user, temp, path. These are the default directories created by system itself, operating system. This is the basic structure of your file system. So this is the top level directory. Forward slash is a top level directory. Under top level directory, these directories are created in an organizable way. Okay. So when you create a new user, that user information will be stored under /home. See, ls home. Suresh user account is created and Suresh home directory is created under this. So if you log in with Suresh user account, so when Suresh is creating files, directories, copying files from other location to his directory, that files will be stored under this directory, cd ls, like this, ls, sorry, home Suresh. See, there is no file. Okay, like this. So ls is the command to list files and directories under your current working directory, present working directory, or present working directory in the sense current directory, pwd. So currently you are in top level directory, root file system. So under root file system, already system created directories are there. Clear? So cd, we'll see what is cd. Just understand. Okay, to list files and its information, to list the files and its information. -l is the option. -l is the option. Command name space option. -l simply execute. It shows the output in long list format. Long list format. Long list format. See, this is a file name. This is directory name. File name. These are all. So first field, it shows this is file type. So this is permissions on that particular file. Permissions on that particular file. We'll see what is permissions later. Okay, just understand. This is the link count. We'll see what is link in the later on classes. And this is owner of that file. Who is owner of that file? Who created that file? So root user is created. The file belongs to which group? The file is in root group. The file is in root group. And the size of the file. This is the size of the file. This is when the file is created. When the file is created and modified. And this is the file path. So you will get long list format information. So long list. So the basic structure. The basic thing in. Okay. Okay. Okay, so here command, options, and arguments. This is the basic syntax of commands execution in your Linux system on terminal or shell. So command, instead of command, specify a command name ls. So just without any option argument, it shows file names, whatever the files available in your current working directory. So if you specified any option here, L, right? So it changes the behavior of your command. It changes the behavior of your command. If you pass any argument like directories, for example, where system created directory, right? So then, so what it will list? Now it will list the files and directories available in that directory. If not passed any argument, not passed any argument to your ls-l, then it takes input as a current working directory. Current working directory, where you are in the Linux system, current working directory. Clear? So if you pass any file name, for example, if you specified any file name here, file 1 example, if you specified, it shows only the particular file information. It shows only that particular file information. So here arguments are nothing but a file names or directory names. So here directory, in Windows we call it as a folders. So it contains files and subdirectories. Directories contain files and subdirectories. See, file name or a directory name. If you pass any name, file name or a directory name. So if you specify file name, it shows only that particular file. So you can also pass multiple arguments. Like this. File 2. If you specified file 1 and file 2. Clear? Now pass two arguments, right? Then it shows file 1 and file 2 information with long list format. Complete information about file 1 and file 2. So I'll show you that. See, just understand how to execute the command, how to pass the argument, how to specify the options. So see, clear? So clear is the command to clear the screen. Clear is the command to clear the screen, or control L. Clear? Control L. Clear? See, command name -L, option. So -L change the behavior of your command. So then pass. So is there any file? No, desktop. Just specify Anaconda, is there, right? Anaconda. Control L to clear the screen, or clear is the command to clear the screen. See, it shows only that particular file information, right? Okay. So if you want to check the file type, permissions on that file, who is owner of that file, who is group owner of that file. So if you want to check, just use the ls space -L, then the file name. It shows complete information, right? The file type. The first field in the long list format, it shows the file type. It shows the file type. So here hyphen. What is hyphen represent? A regular file. Yesterday we discussed it, right? Right? So see, ls. Here I am not passed any argument. So now it takes current working directory as a input argument. It shows available files and directories. Clear? So if you specified ls-l, any directory name, documents. So in current working directory, documents directory is there. Just I specified the directory name. Just execute. There is no files inside documents. That's why it shows total 0. Okay, empty directory. Documents is a empty directory. Clear? Just to specify /boot. So top level directory name, under top level directory, boot directory. So these are all the files is there. These are all the files is there. See, bootable files. See, config file, grub2, bootloader information. So in the bootable boot directory, it contains grub information, bootloader, grub2, init images. These are all the files is there. So if you want to check this, clear? So like this. Clear? So how to execute the commands? Command name, options, and pass the arguments. Here arguments are nothing but file names are a directory names. Directory names. Clear? That is depends on your command. So here ls command, it lists only files and directories. It contains any, if you specified any path, it shows under that path files and directories. To list all hidden files. To list all hidden files in your current working directory. Yeah, I'll show you that. Space, yes, file name, just execute. So we have a 2 files, right? So ls-l anaconda space init space, then second file name, execute. It shows only that particular 2 files information. Clear? ls space -l file 1 space file 2. So ls command shows only that particular 2 files information in long list format. Clear? So to list hidden files, under current working directory, -a is the option. -a, it shows hidden files. See, dot bash underscore history, dot bash underscore logout, dot bash underscore profile, dot bash rc. These are all hidden files and hidden directories. Hidden files and hidden directories. So the hidden file starts with name. Hidden files name starts with dot. Hidden files name start with dot. See, bash underscore, dot bash underscore history is a hidden file. Clear? -a option to list hidden directories and hidden files under current working directory. If you specified any directory name, I'll bin, for example, bin directory. It shows here there is no hidden directories and hidden files. Yes, there is no hidden files and hidden directories. Clear? You specified any other directory name. Is there any hidden directory? No. Yes. Updated. Hidden file. So hidden means hiding from others. Hiding from others. Clear? -a. So if you want to list long list format, just use both the options along with ls command, ls-al or la. Then it shows both the hidden files and normal files and directories. See, it's long list format. So what is long list format? Is complete information about a file and directory, the metadata. Clear? Clear? So this meta information will be stored under inode number. So all this information, so Anaconda, right? So this information will be stored under every file and directory information will be stored under inode number. So when a file is created, once the file is created under your Linux file system, one inode number will be allocated. So inode number will be allocated. It holds that information about that file. So what is the file type? Who is owner of that file? Who is group owner of that file? And permissions applied on that file. Here permissions is nothing but access, read access, write access, and execute access, and the size of the file, how many link counts, how many links are there created, okay, and when the file is created, the date and time will be stored under its inode number, okay, inode number. Clear? So to list inode number file names along with its inode numbers, to list files and its inode numbers, ls-i, see, ls space -i, anaconda-ks.cfg, this is the file name, and its inode number is this one, 377921114. Clear? So see, desktop directory inode number. So this inode number holds information about this Anaconda file. So what is Anaconda? So Anaconda is the installer name in Linux. So installer name in Linux. Clear? Okay, got it? So see, all the files and directories inode numbers, so which holds the information about a file. Okay, so it contains the information. So what about actual data? So it holds the information about a file, that is fine. So inside file you are storing some data, right? Saving some data. So what about that actual data? Where it will be stored? So it stores under data blocks, the basic block structure of your disk. Yes.
Suresh, what is the use of inode?
Not the use of inode. So when a file is created, kernel will allocate one inode number for that file name. So user understand alphanumeric file names, but kernel understand only the numeric names. Okay, so that's why it is allocated one number for that. So kernel will understand the file name. So kernel doesn't understand the name of names. Okay.
Okay. And one more thing, actually you told that ls-a is a hidden file. For already existing files, if you want to see the hidden files, then we can give this command.
Yes,
right?
yes. Existing file.
Suppose I have a file called Suresh1 file.
Okay.
I created Suresh1 file. I don't want to. What is the command to hide that?
Just rename that. Just rename. We have already discussed it, right? mv move command. Rename that. So just execute the command mv. So already created, right? Suresh. If you want to hide, rename dot Suresh1. That's it.
Okay.
Now renamed as dot Suresh. Now it is hiding from others. Clear?
Okay. We need to give this mv command to hide the Suresh1 file.
Yes. Renaming existing file. If you want to rename your file, so use the mv command. Okay, existing file.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Clear? So inode number, the basic structure of your hard drive like this. So first is boot block, and super block, and inode block, and data block. This is the basic raw structure of your storage device. Boot block, it contains the bootable files information. Bootable information, boot block, it contains. Super block, it contains file system information, not files, file system. So here the file system is root file system, right? ext, the complete file system information it contains. Super block contains file system information. So inode block contains files information. So here one inode table will be created. So inside inode table, each file, one file will be created and allocated one ID for that in the inode table. Here, like student table. If any student joined, its name and allocated one role ID, right? Student role ID. Okay, like this, class ID. So here, when you create a file in Linux, so one inode will be allocated for that in inode table. So all the files and its inode numbers will be stored under inode block. Okay, so it holds the information about files and directories. So super block contains entire file system information, and data block, the actual data is stored under data blocks. Actual data, whatever the data you stored, copied to a file. Okay, so data is organized into files actually, right? Data is organized into files. What is a file? Data is nothing but a piece of information. That information is stored under files. These files are organized into directories. These directories are organized into a tree-like structure in our Linux file system. Okay, clear? The data block contains all the actual data of your files. Clear? So inode block is pointed to data block. So for example, inode number is like this, 002. So it contains the file information and it is pointed to data block. So clear? Even though if the file got deleted, so we can recover from data from based on inode numbers. Okay, only file name got deleted from your user space, not your actual inode number. Okay, so inode number still exists under your inode table until and unless you overwrite the data. Clear? Like this. This is inode. Sorry. Clear? Inode information. See, ls-i a long hidden files -l like this. Okay, to print reverse order -lr. See, printed in reverse order, right? -r option to print the output in reverse order. See, first it prints videos descending order. Here videos, templates, public. Without specifying R, it prints alphabetical order. Here, so if you want to print the output in reverse order, just use -r option with ls command. Here, see T option. What is T option here? Timestamps. Sort out based on timestamps. The recently created file and previously created file. It will sort the file names based on the timestamps, not in alphabetical order, based on timestamps. See? Sorted, right? Based on timestamps, desktop, pictures, videos, documents, but not in alphabetical order. Sorted in based on timestamps. When the file is created, based on the date and time, files are sorted and processed to standard output screen. See, if you want to print in reverse order, -l long list format, T to start that output in times based on timestamps, or to print that in reverse order. That's it. To print that in reverse order. Clear? Like this. -ltr. This is ls command. To know more about the commands, this is a basic command, very important command. Okay, so when working with files, permissions, directories, and on disk management, user management. Okay, so ls is a very important if you want to check whether the user is created or not, so whether the file is created or not. So if you want to check ls, the directory path, if you want to check, so who is owner of that file, who is group owner of that file, so what are the access modes applied on that. So ls is the solution to check that information. Clear? So to know more about the commands, man have a help command, have a help pages command. Man, the command name, man is nothing but a manual pages, so it shows information about ls command. Man space command name, any command name. Here I am specified ls. See, ls list directory contents. That is what we discussed, right? See, list information about the files, sort entries alphabetically if none of like this. So just specify the options. So these are all the options available. See, -a, do not ignore entries starting with dot. That is called hidden files. -a option, hidden files. See, based on the directory, lot of options is there. If you specified -h, it shows in human readable format, the file size. If you specified -h, ls space -lh, then it shows the file size in human readable format, 1 KB, 2 KB, if it is a 10 MB, like this. If not specified, it shows in the by default bytes, file size in bytes. Clear? See, -h. -i, print the index number of each file. Index number is nothing but a inode number. Inode number. See, -l, use a long list format like this. Reverse order, list the subdirectories recursively. Sorry, reverse order while sorting. So list subdirectories recursively. So if you specified -capital R option, so for example, is there any directories under current working directory? I'll show you that. See, so here documents, downloads, music, desktop, these are all directories. These are files. So if you want to list out inside subdirectories information also, so just to specify -ls capital R. See, listed, right? There is no files and directories. Inside pictures, capital R, desktop. So printed current working directory, files and directories, and with capital R option, it shows inside desktop directory, inside documents directory, inside downloads directory, inside music directory. So but there is no files inside the subdirectories. There is no files inside subdirectories. -capital R. So print recursively subdirectories information. Print recursively, right? See, capital R, list subdirectories recursively. Small r for reverse order. See, -capital S. If you want to sort out the output based on file size, use the -capital S. Capital S is the option to sort by file size. Output, see, ls -l So this is the file size, right? File size. So if you want to see this output in human readable format, I mean the file size H, now it shows 1.6K. Before it shows 1547. Now it shows in human readable format, right? H is the option. Print human readable format. Clear? So to start out based on size, capital S. Now it will start. Started, right? Okay. You can also use if you want to print in reverse order, just use -R. I mean capital R. You can also specify multiple options. Clear? See, like this. So how to specify the options, how to pass arguments like file names, directory names, how to list out all the files information inside. So like this. Okay, just go through that manual pages, just understand. So what is options? Okay, so a lot of options available for each and every command. Will get a lot of stuff. Okay, see, T. Start by modification time, newest first. Modification time is timestamps -T. Clear? Like this. Clear? Okay, this is ls command and this is the man. So man is the help pages, help page, help commands, man, and info also is there. Info, informational pages about the commands, binary files, info. It shows like a web page. Info command shows output like a web page. See, ls command information. The ls program lists information about file of any type, including directories. Clear? See, and all the options also available here. You get more stuff comparing with man command. You get more stuff using info command. So man and info. So if you want to list out any commands, so have a command user add. It shows user add information. System management commands. See, create a new user or update default new user information. We'll see user administration. Okay, like this. Man, then the command name. To know more about the command. Okay, like options. So how to execute. Clear? Info, man. Both are very important. Clear? This is ls command to list files and directories in long list format, hidden files based on timestamps, reverse order. Clear? So next, so we need to discuss about some little bit options, right? ls-a. See, so what is dot and double dot? What is dot and double dot here? I'll show you some examples. Control. So dot and double dot is there, right? Every directory it contains dot and double dot and tilde. This one dollar. We'll see. So dot represents current working directory. Dot represents current working directory. Dot represents current working directory. So it holds the information about all the file names. It holds the information about current working directory file names. So whatever the files and directories are created inside that current working directory, that information it holds. Okay, so dot. So it represents current working directory parent directory. Double dot represents current working directory parent directory. Clear? So we'll see later. So it holds the information. It holds the double dot holds the information about like current working directory parent directory path. So for example, so like this. This is directory, root directory, right? Root users home directory. Inside desktop directory also there, right? Desktop. This is the path. Desktop. This is the inside directory. So this is one directory. This is one directory. So root directory created under top level directory. / root file system starts with / right? So under / root directory is created. So under root directory, desktop directory is created. Now this is child directory of root directory, right? Subdirectory. Also we call it as subdirectory. Directory, inside directory, we call it as a subdirectories. So its parent directory is root. So here also dot and double dot is there. So dot represents current working directory, double dot represents its parent directory. That information. So if you want to change your directory from your current working directory to its parent directory, so we have a command cd change directory from one directory to another directory path. Just a double dot. Then the directory location will be changed from current working directory to its parent directory. I'll show you that. Just understand. Okay. So tilde, it represents user's home directory. User home directory. Tilde. That the symbol tilde represents user home directory. It represents root user login. Like admin. So it represents $normal user login. Normal user login. Clear? Okay. So I will show you that. See, dot and double dot. Now cd dot dot. So what it is? Tilde. User home directory. So what is the username here? Root. Login with root user account. Root user home directory is now currently you are in root user home directory. If a tilde is shows here, so now currently you are in root user home directory. So if you log in with different user account, so here it shows tilde symbol. Now currently you are in that user account home directory. Home directory. Clear? So it represents now currently you log in with root user account, administrator account, hash symbol. It represents. Clear? cd change current working directory to its parent directory. Dot dot. Change it, right? Now current working directory to its parent directory. That directory changed. See, so how to check that? The present working directory path, the information twd is the command to check that. Twd, it shows the present working directory path. Present working directory path. twd, absolute path. We'll see what is path and absolute path, relative path later. Clear? cd space dot dot. Now change it, right? So current working directory is top level directory. This is the topmost directory. Under this only the system created directories and user created directories will be stored. Okay, in a structured manner. Yeah. So cd dot. If you execute it, it shows current working directory itself. Okay. So if you want to change your directory from current working directory to related directory, so inside ls, execute ls, it shows lot of directories is there in the top level directory bin home. So if you want to change your directory to home, cd / home. Now change it, right? Current working directory to whatever the path you specified here. Whatever the path you specified here. Now the directory is home. Now change it. Current working directory to home directory. So if you want to print that current working directory's path, pwd. See, this is the path. Currently you are in / home directory. pwd is the command to print present working directory path. Present working directory path. Clear? Like this. So what is the path here? Yeah. No. So if you specified / in the first cd /, what is / here? Top level directory. Under top level directory, if the directory is there / home, then it will be changed. So if the directory is not exist, it shows error. No such file or directory. See, it's specified. There is no directory, right? Data directory inside top level. Currently you are in top level directory here. So bins, dev, something is there. Is there any data directory? No. Just specify cd. Now changing directory from home to top level directory, and the top level directory data directory. No such file or directory. If you specified existing directory name, then it will be changed like proc. See? Clear? So that represents the directory name. So if not specified, no need to specify /. If you specified, not specified, so it will be changed because the directory, home directory exists under current working directory. If the directory does not exist, it shows no such file or directory. So we need to specify the correct path. So here two types of paths are there. So one is absolute path, one is relative path. Okay. Tomorrow we will see that. So what is the path and what is relative path and what is absolute path. So how to create links, what is hard link, what is soft link. Okay. So like this, cd, change directory from one directory to another directory. pwd is the command to print the present working directory path and location. Okay, understand? Is there any doubts up to here? No? You? No. Clear? Hello, Ramna? Hello?
Yeah, yes, sir. I am good. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'll share you that evening class link also. Okay, so
Sure.
you can join. Okay. Okay.
Send me whatever the soft copies material are there with you. You send it to me to my mail ID.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah, you share me the document so that I will go through that.
Okay, right.
Okay, Suresh. Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.